and then we'll pick up the audio when we start. Oh, you are in it, Rochelle. In the video, you can, it just cuts off at your, because I have the wide angle lens.
Wide angle.
This show is broadcasting live from the Podcast Detroit studios in Royal Oak, Michigan. For more information about this show or our network, please visit www.podcastdetroit.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the Undercard. The Undercard brings you the best in hand combat sports, featuring major interviews, current events, and the hottest ring girls from around the nation. The Undercard is sponsored by Falling Down Beer Company, Podcast Detroit Studios, and is produced by Rochelle Witt. And now, here are your hosts, Brad, Cody, and Jimmy.
Welcome to the Undercard. That is a new intro. That is good, buddy.
Thanks.
We're going to have to replay it again, though, for Cody, because he's on Cody time, so he can feel a part of the show. But as he said in a private message, he's made it.
He's finally in the intro.
Well, it's just about time that Marv's out of here.
Marv's been gone for a year.
I know. Oh,
yeah.
man.
So now, you're welcome, Cody. You're welcome. It's official.
Yeah.
Cody will be joining us later. Our lone guest, unless some people contact us, is Joseph Battaglia. He has another MMA event happening in April, and we will definitely talk a little bit about that in a second. But we got to start. We've been gone for so long. I think we came back 1 week from the Arnold. Or did we even come back a week from the Arnold?
We came back immediately that Tuesday.
And then I got super sick.
And then you got super sick. Yeah.
I'm still not right.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I was telling Rochelle, still don't feel 100% right. Which really, really stinks. But I didn't want to be away from the show that long. But there's so much to talk about. The one thing I did want to start off the show with, general topic, is I have joined officially the evil empire. I have an iPhone now.
No, Brad.
No, unless Apple was going to give us lots
man.
of money. Sprint gave us lots of money, but if Apple wants to give us tons of money,
I'm slightly disappointed in you. I really am.
Yeah.
I love our phones.
Okay. Well, you'll be the first when the robot uprising happens. You'll be the first in line to become slaves.
Which is weird because Elon Musk from Tesla, that's a big fear of his, is that artificial intelligence is going to take over.
That's a big fear of a lot of people.
No, but he's a lot to do with that, with the Tesla and
yeah, no, I get that.
No,
yeah.
So like for him to say it gives it validity.
Well,
there's going to be an opportunity. Yeah, it's a ghost. That gives it validity that it could happen. I remember listening to a speech by him where he said that the fear would be that the robots would be so much more intelligent than us that could be a
that's exactly how it would happen.
Yeah.
Because a human being, if we can ever make a robot that can compute at the same speed as a human being's brain, then but the problem is that they can grow beyond what our brains can grow because they're not, there's not things like disease and other things that can affect the brain. So, yeah, I mean, AI
teach themselves.
Well, and that's exactly what the problem will be, is that AI will realize after a certain period of time that not only are humans useless, but they're actually a detriment. They're actually a detriment to the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a big concern. It really is. And Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Gates, like all these people, when they weigh in about AI, they're like, yeah, that shit's scary because it could happen. It can happen real fast.
Right.
You know?
Well, in the wrong, so you figure, speaking of Elon Musk, he has a nonprofit that deals with robotics, in which it's a nonprofit, so it's not for profit, but it's people with ideas in hopes that doesn't happen. But yeah, if somebody was able to develop it with bad motives, oh good God.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could.
Well, even with good motives. Let's say that you program. We'll go all the way back to the beginning. We'll go back to Isaac Asimov's iRobot. All right, the 3 laws of robotics. The first law of robotics is you cannot harm a human being. The second law of robotics is you can't do anything that. I'm trying to remember the 3. So the first one is you can't ever harm a human being. The second one is you can't do anything that will disrupt your programming or something like that, like this third one. But here's the problem. So the computer gets smart enough to realize that in order for it to stop humans from hurting other humans, the only way to do that is by eliminating humans. So even though the motive
That's some Space
was
Odyssey stuff. For
even though the motive was altruistic and trying, for the betterment, the consequences could be disastrous.
Right. The crazy thing about the iPhone move, from my perspective, Rochelle had lots of issues with her phone, but I was not happy with Metro PCS, and actually. I had the biggest screen that an Android offers, so it was like a little movie theater. I was compensating for something, so but it was really, really nice to have that. So I wasn't like unhappy. And then the whole idea behind Steve Jobs was that anybody could use any Apple products. To tell you the truth, I've struggled this last week relearning stuff with the iPhone. So his original message of any idiot could use it, I've actually struggled with this. And the Android is a lot easier.
Yes. Well, because here's the thing. People who are intelligent and understand technology
Or probably iPhone people.
they're the opposite. They are Android people. Because people who are intelligent and understand technology do better with Androids because it's more geared to tech-savvy people. People who are not good with technology, the Apple is a little bit better because you don't need to understand as much in order to get it. The problem with that is you can't do as much with it, and it controls too much. You have less options when dealing with different varying settings on your phone.
Yeah, so I started off with, I think we talked about it, I think 4 new passwords to iPhone, iTunes and everything.
Right.
From 4 passwords, 3 numerical codes, and then 1 fingerprint.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
now does everything.
Yeah.
I can't remember any of those, so
Yeah.
if somebody was to take that, I'd be in trouble.
Well,
I wrote them down.
make sure you know
your.
your codes, because the fingerprint isn't always going to work.
Oh, right, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have a fingerprint on my phone, but the problem is half the time, either if my thumb's a little sweaty or if I'm trying to do whatever, it won't recognize it, and I still have to do the keypad to unlock it.
Tissues with lotion, stuff like that.
Nah, not that bad. Also, I just want to announce, so we have time for people to get on here if they want to. Tonight, we are beta testing our live stream. And how we're doing it is we're doing it through the Twitch application. And if you're unfamiliar with Twitch, Twitch is usually a gaming streaming service where you can watch people play games, and then they also have various cameras or whatever where you can watch them playing the game, and it's usually like split screen. I bought a camera and I bought some stuff, and we are beta testing it tonight. If you want to watch the live stream, you go to www.twitch.tv, not .com. It's www.twitch.tv /Team Undercard, all one word. And you should be able to watch. We have one camera right now. It's really high up. Eventually, we will be getting more cameras, and I'll be playing around with it. But tonight's the beta test. So if something goes wrong, if something's not working, let me know, and I'll try to fix it for next time. Figure out why it wasn't working. And also, like I said, we're going to be expanding this. But right now, it's just the one camera, and hopefully this will work, and then we'll be able to go on from here. The goal is to be able to live stream every show that we do, and possibly, if we can get internet access at some places, live stream some events we're at.
That would be great. And for every $100 donation to the Undercard, Cody Stamen will take off his shirt. And so there's an incentive to have $100 donations to the Undercard. No, this is actually awesome. We first off, when the Undercard started as a TV show, it was undercard.tv. So I understand the whole principle behind .coms and .tv. But Twitch is actually, this is probably the most cutting edge that we've ever been as a show, because Twitch is now just taking off. And normally we're behind like a couple of years.
Well, it was quite a bit when we were talking about it. I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? But I think I found a stable platform that I can run this on. I just got to do just kind of setting it up today. There were a lot of things where I was like, shoot, how do I do this? I forget how I do this. So it will get better in the future. But today it's probably going to be a little bit rough.
Now, in addition to TXC, Joseph Battaglia coming in doing a phone interview at 7:30. Speaking, because Twitch is for games, Jimmy has a game for us later on today.
Yes, I do. Yes. It was a game that we were going to play last week in honor of St. Patrick's Day, but Brad was sick, so we didn't. So we're going to kind of retroactively play it in honor of St. Patty's Day, since we're all Irish. And
Michelle's not.
You're not?
Not at all.
No.
Not even a little bit?
No.
Have you gotten the ancestry thing?
No.
Aiden did. It came back exactly how
Yeah.
I thought. It said Scandinavian.
Actually, my mom did it because she wanted to prove that she was Irish, and it came back, and I think it said she was 10 to 25% Irish.
Nice.
Which she was happy. She was happy because there was some Irish in there, and there was a couple things. There was like we knew French, but then there was some other things like Wales and things of that nature or whatever. I forget exactly all what they were, but all she wanted to make sure was that she was part Irish, and she is, so she was happy.
I'll try to pull up Aiden's here really quick, because you figure my son has a lot of what I have in there. Anyway.
Well, it would be split between
It
him and
actually
his
isn't.
mom.
No,
No?
not at all.
Oh.
They're pretty similar.
I
Oh.
mean, yeah, he actually he spit in a tube, I guess. And,
Well, that's where you'd spit in a little thing and then mail it, and 3 months later you get the results.
Yeah, I'll have to find it, but there was a few surprises on there that maybe.
Yeah.
It was mostly me, and what did he come back? Irish 40? It was high.
It was high.
Yeah.
But we knew that anyways.
Yeah.
But as I get older, which is a good segue to talk about it, it's I haven't felt good anyways. But a Saturday night St. Patrick's Day, 20-year-old Brad would have thought was just the greatest thing that ever happened. I was actually even married the first time around on St. Patrick's Day. The holiday meant a lot to me, and it's actually my Christian name, Patrick, too.
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't get... There's a lot of things I can't get into anymore that I used to get into as a kid, and I might be aging ridiculously fast. But the appeal of that day just came and went. It's... I don't know. I have no idea.
Well,
I didn't even wear green.
I
Yes,
did.
you did. Yes, you did.
I did. It wasn't on purpose. What did I wear green?
Your boxers.
Well, okay, I wore boxers.
Yeah, but they were even Guinness ones.
Okay.
Oh,
that
there you
was
go.
even planned.
That counts,
Yeah,
That counts.
was even planned.
I worked Concordia, which I do every Saturday, and I did wear green. that day. I forget what I did in the evening. I was supposed to go out, but I was on call. I ended up having to go out on a couple of runs, so I ended up not doing anything. Which, it was kind of like, if I went out, great. If I don't,
The rule of thumb is you can pinch anyone that's not wearing green that day, but I told Rochelle the other day, except weathermen, because that's not really fair. They can't wear green in front of the green screen. So
well, they could. It would just be interesting, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So they get a pass, right? So because of the
green
why
screen,
not? But everybody else should be wearing green. But I don't know. It was just Saturday, perfect. I mean, I love my Irish heritage, and I absolutely, but now the rest of America that pretend they're Irish and aren't can now pretend they're Mexican for May 5th and move on and
Cinco de Mayo.
And continue on and go do that and everything.
Did you hear about the bar? It was like a fake bar, but it was a bar where they were trying to bring attention to the problems with immigrants, and what they were doing was they wouldn't let Irish people in. Yeah, and they were using the old slangs from like turn of the century when people were turning away the Irish, saying that they were dirty and brought disease and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was brilliant. There were some people though. I saw a little video of it. There were some people that were like ready to fight, genuinely pissed off, and it was.
This is the bar we're going to right now.
Right, and what they did was the people that got really, really pissed off, they pulled them aside and they handed them a brochure saying what they were doing and why they were doing it. And once they saw that, they're like, "Oh, okay," which was literally, I think, the reason they went, "Oh, okay," is because on the bottom it said, "This is not a real bar."
And that proves the point of what they're trying to prove, how people would get mad and discrimination against anybody.
Right, exactly.
Is, still, I thought it was brilliant. I perused the article. I wouldn't say I didn't do it too much, but I was also thinking how much that cost them to perform that political study. And, there had to be, we lost some money in it. And
it wasn't a real bar.
No, I know, but
all they did was they put a sign out front. Yeah. They just said it was a bar, and people started walking there.
Yeah, maybe they didn't lose money then.
I was gonna say if they lost money, it was maybe in like the hundreds of dollars. The money for the sign, the money for the people, the paper for the pamphlets.
It's a great social experiment. Sherry, the photographer friend, she'd actually love that experiment. She's huge into social experiments and everything like that. So Cody's not here, and so this is a perfect time to talk about it. No.
No, I know. I'm just
someone should text him that if he knows the code to the door, though.
I'm sure he'll text us when he gets here.
I kind of wanted to talk about this without him hearing anyway. So this is a very crucial time and behind-the-scenes stuff going on with the UFC and the WWE. And what do the two have in common? Both have TV deals that either have expired or are going to expire. Raw and SmackDown have been a staple, correct, of USA, is it, Jimmy? Are they on USA right now?
Sure.
Okay, we should confirm that. But for sure, UFC is on Fox Sports 1. So what's going on right now is that UFC is looking for another deal. And Fox Sports, behind the scenes, is acting like they're going to make a run at WWE. That the UFC thing hasn't worked out. Dana White's saying these numbers they're throwing out are purposely to negotiate.
Right.
And then you got ESPN, who isn't making money anymore, that might make another run at WWE or possibly, UFC. So behind closed doors, it's very interesting right now because if WWE, which is once again as popular as it was back during the Attitude Era right now, the numbers are huge. This WWE network thing worked out brilliantly with these pay-per-views. If Fox Sports is really looking to get Raw and SmackDown, which are both on I believe the USA Network, that changes everything for UFC because the UFC now is maybe looking at ESPN, but then ESPN is also looking like a player maybe for WWE also. So you got a lot of behind the scenes things going, and it's going to be interesting because if WWE signs a huge deal, I don't know if UFC can get as big of a deal as WWE.
Right.
One is sports entertainment, and one's real sports.
Right. Raw and SmackDown are on USA.
Correct.
Raw's on Mondays, SmackDown's on Tuesdays. Then Total Divas is on the E Network on Wednesdays.
Well, it would only
And
be the
main
Raw
event-
SmackDown.
Right. And then the main event is on Hulu on Thursdays.
Right. So behind the scenes, and this has been going on for a year, where Fox Sports is supposedly not happy with the ratings of UFC, or supposedly not happy. And so what you're going to have here is the UFC looking. Could you imagine WWE on ESPN? I mean, like they were the sports network, and now they would be sports entertainment, but you're losing money.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, I could. It'd
The
be
number
weird.
the number one thing that makes ESPN
I could
money
see it
right
up
now-
on ESPN like 8, the Ocho.
No. It would be.
No,
that
I
would
know,
be
I'm just kidding.
ESPN. That would be must-see TV. The thing about ESPN right now, what's getting them the ratings is they're behind the 60. What is it? Behind the
60 minutes?
no. The original content, the stories where they go back and they tell the stories and between the lines, all those original content stories are what is big on ESPN right now. The way people can watch now every sporting event on
60
their
and
phone,
60.
yeah, is not the way probably for ESPN to recover. So we'll start to follow this story, but what you're having is a lot of people pretending to leak, and I'm not going to pretend I know anything about this, but how goes WWE, UFC goes, and how UFC goes WWE, and you got to figure the WWE contract is worth more. From a ratings standpoint, where they're at right now. But I don't know enough information. I've heard a lot of rumors of where people might be going, and the one thing that has been pointed out by a lot of people that I know in media is if we hear something, typically it's because of negotiation and it means nothing.
Right.
And so it would just be something thrown out by these networks. But man, WWE and UFC, no matter how hard they try not to separate each other, here's another prime example of they're running alongside each other, whether it be the Ronda thing,
Right.
whether it be the Brock thing, now it's TV contracts. They're literally running together, whether they want to or not.
Right.
And one will determine a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an interesting study. If you're UFC, you almost want to sign first, because if WWE determines the marketplace, you might lose money.
Right. Yep.
I mean, that's
No,
just like free
I-
agency.
Right. I agree.
If you're the best pitcher out there, you wait until a lesser pitcher gets hired, and he makes a $150 million contract over 5 years, so you can go now to the Philadelphia Phillies or Detroit Tigers or
Right.
whatever and say, well, I'm better than him,
Right.
so I deserve at least $200 million for 6 years. And so it's going to be interesting as UFC and the Fox Sports cards have ended. And we're moving on to where their next thing is. I do not want UFC to take a step back further. I mean, I don't want to see them. I do want to see them on a network that's easily accessible. I do not want to go to a bar and say, can you throw on the USC? And then they say, well, we don't have ABC Network, or, you know, the ones I'm talking about, like Spike, or some of
Right.
them that are left off things. But God, WWE, if they were to get on ESPN, that would just be absolutely crazy, because USA has always been a second tier network, you know? Wasn't that like the Silk Stocking show and all those terrible programmings the USA up all
Yeah.
night?
Oh God.
Like they had some bad programming
Oh,
over the
God.
years, you know?
Oh God, that was bad.
Rhonda Shear, up all night. You remember those? And then she introduced
yeah.
bad movies.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be
And they were bad
Oh, they
movies.
were-
They were like not even B
really-
movies. They were like C movies.
They were really, 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 really bad. All right, we're going to go to our first commercial break. On the flip side, we're going to have Joseph Battaglia. Congratulations on our new intro, Jimmy.
Great job.
Very excited.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll be back in 6 minutes exactly. Joseph Battaglia from TXC.
You're listening to The Undercard, Hand Combat Radio.
Do you love me? Which one is it? We should be living in a warehouse district. I took the day and the lesson it taught me. Passing off blames to anybody is easy. And darling, you know it shouldn't be like that. But I go with you to the long drive.
is 229, right? I'll say it is.
I told you, I don't have,
Huh?
my planner still hasn't come yet.
No.
Remembering a time long gone. Found it in a drawer. Found it in a drawer. Took a little time and now I found it in a drawer. Can't go on. In a drawer, hidden in a drawer. Found it at the bottom. I found it in a drawer. Can't go in a drawer. Found it in a drawer. You're out the corner now. Found it in a drawer.
Brad, want to go into one more?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
You're listening to the Undercard, Hand Combat Radio.
Hello?
I wanna feel. I've been a miner for a heart of gold. It's these expressions I never hear that keep me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. I've been to Hollywood, I've been to Redwood, I crossed the ocean for a heart of gold. I've been in my mind, it's such a fine line that keeps me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. You keep me searching and I'm growing old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
Welcome back to the Undercard, everybody. We're going to be talking with Joseph Battaglia now from TXC. He's got an event coming up. You got the number? Oh, I wrote the number down there. My bad. Good luck reading my handwriting.
She can read mine. She can read yours.
I put mine against anybody's.
Say what again?
I print and it's horrible.
You have doctor handwriting, just like me. That's always my excuse, is doctor handwriting. I don't have time for that.
Hello,
Hey, Joseph, you're live on the air with the Undercard. How are you today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good. We are joined by Joseph Battaglia from Triple X Cage Fighting TXC Legends. Is happening Saturday, April 14th, Burton Manor, sponsored by Patino Diet again. And let's just cut to the chase. You got a good main event. Right off the bat, you got Marco Smallman, which, if anybody knows anything about MMA, this kid's got the stuff to go to the highest levels of the sport. He's built like an MMA fighter. Not only is he built like an MMA fighter, he's just a dangerous fighter. He finishes people. And then you got Scott Futrell, and you look at his record at 8-5, and you'd be like, not that, it's an average record, but he's actually on a 3-fight win streak, and his last loss was a decision against Adrian for you guys at TXC. A tough opponent. So let's talk about this main event right away.
So he lost to Adrian on our last card by a split decision. So it was a very tough fight. And he changed schools. Scott Petrelli with an even better academy. He's extremely tough. I think this is Marco's toughest fight for sure.
And with the
Especially in matchup wise, he's long. He's a good striker. It's a tough fight. It's going to be very interesting to see how Marco comes out in this fight.
Now, this welterweight contest, as you said, is a step up for Marco. But from a distance, Marco, and because of his camp and being close to him, he appears to be the real deal. Can you tell us some of the strengths that Futrell hasn't seen before, that you think would give it a great edge to Marco? And what do you think might give Marco some problems?
Well, Marco is, he's one of the hardest workers, so he's good at everything. He's not going to quit. He's a guy that's going to be in the fight regardless if it's on the ground or standing. He's well versed. He's a brown belt in karate, full contact karate, so striking at his feet, he's good, and he's a high-level purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so he's solid in every place, and he's not going to get tired. He's one of the hardest workers. He's very dedicated. But Scott is very long. He's got very good. He kind of reminds me of Quan Townsend. He's very long. He's got good elbows, good knees. He's excellent in the clinch, and he's quick. So it's going to be an interesting fight. We'll see how it plays out.
Tell us a little bit more about the Legends card here. What else is on the docket fight-wise, and what fights should fans make sure they're in their seats for?
Well, Adrian is on the card. We don't have the contracts back from the other guy yet, so I can't say his name. But it's a good fight for him. His brother's fighting in the United States for the first time, coming out of Albania. This is his first pro fight as well. He had a good amateur run in Albania, but now he's here in the States, so that should be fun to watch. I'm sure you guys are familiar with David Bashi. He's an up-and-coming amateur. He's 3-0. He's fighting for his first title on this card against a really tough Canadian kid. So it's a good card. It's stacked. We have a lot of amateur fights on this card. I think there's 4 or 5 amateur fights and 6 or 7 pro fights. So it's pretty stacked from top to bottom. We've had a couple fights fall out in the last few days, so we might add a couple more amateur fights. But the card's good where it's at. So if we don't, then it's not a big deal.
And for people that don't know in our listening audience, Joseph Battaglia, former fighter himself, I view as TXC as the most fighter-friendly promotion out there because of the background you come from. We've talked off the record and on the record, but little stuff that you've mentioned to me where you know how important those after parties are. You try to stick to a schedule, try to wrap it up. It doesn't go to 1 in the morning. It's not an all-night event. And so these are exciting cards because you are such a fighter-friendly person? I mean, does that help coming from the fighter background that you kind of know what these guys are going through fight week, kind of know how they want to be treated and how you wanted to be treated back in the day?
I hope so. I mean, for us, nobody wants to be there all night long. A lot of these guys get sponsorship money to go to different places after their fights. So if fights until 2 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of hard for them to get sponsorship. And it's not a bash on other promoters, because sometimes they just have a lot more fights. We try to keep it to 12 fights, and if we even have to do a better job at getting the show, even though we're usually done by midnight, that's still too late for me. We got to do a better job of getting the guys in and out of the ring. You'll see that, on this next show, because we're not interviewing every fight. Very typically we have Tara Rowe interview every single winner. We're not going to do that this time around. I think we're just going to interview the fights that are intriguing. You know what I mean? If it's a big knockout or a great fight, then we'll interview it. But if it's just a quick fight, or if it's kind of a bull, necessary to waste 5 minutes, where the fans want to really see the action. So, hopefully it'll get some incentives for the guys to get in there and finish fights,
Right. Now, with TXC Legends 78, you guys were typically running 2 shows a year. There was a little bit of a break last year. Was it refreshing to have a little bit of a break and kind of not run the shows as you did and allow this show to get a little bit more momentum? Is 2 shows a year where you guys are looking at this year too?
Well, for us, both Glenn and I have full-time jobs, so as the economy started getting better, it takes a lot of work to put these shows on. So it worked out where our venue was having some remodeling done, and when they were doing they're doing an expansion, it was supposed to be done, so we were just waiting for the expansion to get done. And then, we couldn't wait any longer if we were going to continue to do it, so we winded up talking to them, and we just couldn't make the best deal for TXC, you know what I mean? So we winded up moving down the road, still close to it. It's just going to work out better all the way around for us. Hotels connected right there. Just kind of like the Suburban Showcase, which we love the venue, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it doesn't make sense for us because, we're limited on dates there. For us, they tell us when we get to go. And it makes it much harder to throw a show because you just never know what it's going to be. Where at the venue we're at now, we get to pretty much decide when we're going to do it. So it's just going to work out a lot better, and it may give us an opportunity to do more shows rather than just the 2 we were doing. But I will say it was a great break, being off for that time span. I mean, the fighters have been messaging us off the hook of when we're going to have another show, but we don't do this for the money, so we don't do it for a living. We don't have to do a show if we don't want to. We can just go to other shows and enjoy their show rather than go through the headache.
Now, we've talked about this often. I believe we've even talked about it on the air on our show, but since the Wild West was put to rest, there was a little bit of problems because some of the rules didn't make sense. They were overcorrecting, but some of them have been now corrected with the eye exam and stuff. Where do you see the state of Michigan and how dealing with the state of Michigan is? Are we headed in the right direction finally? Because I value your opinion, and TXC is a reputable promotion. It's not like some of these other promotions. Do you think we're headed in the right direction, or is there still work to be done?
No, I think so. I think the state's doing a better job. They've changed the rules this year so that now there will be more state officials there, which I think will help out. And plus we can hire more inspectors. They can get certified through the state as long as they were former law enforcement or current law enforcement. There can be more to do with that. So it didn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense when they first did it because they sanctioned a lot more fees but did a lot less work. Now they're starting to come back to doing more actually at the event. There has to be an inspector at the weigh-in where it didn't have to be when sanctioning first came out.
Which is crazy, to think about that. You could have a promotion that could have somebody weigh in. That was the unbelievable one because it applied to boxing too. You just couldn't have. For weigh-in, that's unheard of.
That and then even the inspectors at the show, they really didn't have any responsibility there other than tabulate the scores and
random P test.
Hand wraps. They weren't going in and out of the cage. to make sure the water bottles were clear, or gasoline wasn't being put on them. So now they've corrected that, and they are going to have to where an inspector will go in the cage and see what's going on, and hand wraps will be checked. Probably a lot of it, to be honest, has to do with the UFC coming here. They probably were like, what the heck is this? This is a shit show. So that probably helped, our cause on getting some of the rules that really should have been there. It should have never been eliminated to begin with.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for joining us. That's a heck of a main event. Like I said, if you look at Futrell's 3-fight win streak, and it's not like it's over time too. He's working a lot since the 2017. He had a couple fights that were canceled. Not only did he have a couple fights that beyond his control were canceled. I mean, he's working, so it's 3-fight wins recently, and he's going against what some people say is the best welterweight maybe in the state, in Marco Smallman. So we want to thank you so much, Joseph, for giving us some time. Tickets are available at neptix.com, neptix.com. Any questions or for tickets or probably VIP packages, 248-252-0427. So a new venue, but it's going to be a lot of fun. 6 p.m. Burton Manor.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, that is Joseph Battaglia. Thank you so much, Joe. We'll see you soon. The TXC, like I said, Jimmy, and I think you've been to the TXC show, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love them
several
when
of
they
them.
were at the theater when Cody took down Ruben Beriak with spinning kick.
Oh yeah,
Lights. That was
yeah.
at Macomb Music Theater. We tried to
Something like
broadcast
that. Yeah.
live.
Yeah, we were gonna be in that little
Balcony.
balcony. Yeah,
Where you
I
had
remember
the
that.
box seats.
All right.
Yeah,
So
but nothing would work.
I'm gonna tell everybody a ridiculous story that has never gone out on the air, but
That
it's
was
going
that was the old network.
right.
Yeah, so
but
we can
now-
talk about them all we want
Yeah.
now.
So what happened was this was our first live broadcast ever.
Trying to be live broadcast.
Right, and they give us an opera booth, like off to the side of the stage, and Ricky Rocks, who was our old producer, God bless him,
Ricky Rocks.
legendary bassist. This is the first time he's ever tried out the equipment. Marv's there, I'm there, and we're going to have special guests come up. We're going to have a whole night planned. Well, Ricky Rocks literally brought 14 minutes of battery to our remote set. And what happened was we ran out of battery.
Yeah.
We recorded interviews with Angie Jennings and I think Javier, who was working with Michigan Top Team.
Yeah.
Until Ricky, because he brought his wife at the time.
Yeah.
Finally says, "Oh, we're not recording." What's going on? So then it was the awkward. We're just sitting there. So
Right.
Marv thought it was funny. We pretended to do a show in
Right.
mics that weren't real, because Ricky Rocks brought 14 minutes of battery and we could not charge it anywhere
Yeah.
where we were at the.
Yeah.
the-
There was like no plugs there.
No.
It was crazy.
So Ricky did not charge it before he got there, or even tried it out. I don't think, because I
I don't
remember
think he
him
did either.
pulling it out, going, "I don't know where this goes. I don't know where this
goes here.
I don't know where this goes." But we interviewed two people
Yeah.
that never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Never existed.
Yeah.
So that's our TXC first time story, and I think that was the night Cody took out Ruben with
I
the
think
kick.
you're right, because I remember that. I do remember that.
Just spinning with him.
Yeah.
Boom. And down he goes. But so we got a lot of MMA coming up over the next few weeks in Michigan. I can't say this enough. April 6th, we have at Eastern Michigan University, Eric McGuire's throwing boxing and MMA at the Eastern Michigan Convocation Center. And I don't know this guy because I'm not a huge Voice guy, but some guy from The Voice is actually performing a concert. Eric McGuire's a good guy. Come out and support it. Then the Metro Detroit Golden Gloves is happening April 13th, 14th, and 15th at Burt's Warehouse. That's at the amateur tournament for the Detroit Golden Gloves. More information is available at DetroitGoldenGloves.org. I actually just wrote the press release for that, so look for that out there. April 13th, it's Night of Knockouts.
13th.
At Soundboard Boxing, Carlos Lalinas, Anthony Barnes is back in action. I just heard Dwayne Williams is fighting Taylor Dewar.
Really?
That is April 13th.
Damn.
April 14th, we just talked to Joseph Battaglia. TXC is going on. And you know what? The cool thing about that is you could probably go see the Golden Gloves in the afternoon and still make it out to Burton Manor later that night. And
man,
let's see.
That's a
what
lot
else
of
is
stuff
coming
going on
in.
because that's right when my show's getting ready to open up.
What show are you doing?
Into the Woods. I'm not in it. I'm just building the sets.
Okay.
But, you know, I work for Concordia as their technical director, and
Yeah.
we're building the sets for Into the Woods right now. Kind of minimal.
I should know
It's
what that
funny.
is.
It's
What
a
is
musical.
that?
It's
No,
a musical.
But is it based on fairy tales?
Yes, it's
We
so
have a movie.
they're yeah. I was gonna say they made a movie with all the famous people but they it was supposed to be a simplistic like set design because it's basically just me building the sets with maybe once or twice people coming and kind of helping me out. Jerry, the program director, does a lot of work and stuff like that, but it's really just kind of the two of us, right? Well, he brought in the art director, who is brilliant, by the way, to like do scenic painting and stuff like that, but then she had all these other ideas, and now I have like so much more work than I anticipated because she wants to do this and wants to do that, wants to do that, and I'm like, this was supposed to be simple so that we could accomplish it, but it's becoming more and more complicated, and it's starting to frustrate me. So, but yeah, that show opens up on the 19th, so that weekend beforehand, I'll probably be there a good chunk of it because that's probably where we're going to be loading in the set. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Dress rehearsal is typically with setup.
Yeah, dress rehearsals typically with setup.
So
yeah.
would they? How many days out?
Dress rehearsal would be that. So we'd probably load in the show on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, get the set in, and then their dress would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Final dress would be Thursday. They would perform Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we take down the set.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. And then you get summer
yes.
off, or is there?
Well, yes and no. I mean, Jerry, who is the program director over there, he's using. So he has this group called the Experimental Arts Association, and for years, like even way back when, I did stuff with him like clowning work and miming work and like living statue work and stuff like that. Well, he wants to try to bring some professionalism to Concordia and allow the students to work with professional actors. And we do onesie-twosies like I did and Frank, and I did something else, and we had this other guy do something else, and so on and so forth. But in February of next year, we're going to be mounting a production of Hamlet, where the main characters, including myself, are the professional actors. Then we'll have students be some of the minor characters, so they can get used to doing Shakespeare and get used to doing Shakespeare with professionals. So I'll be playing, oh God, I can't even think of his name, the uncle, the one that killed Hamlet's father, and also the ghost of Hamlet's father. And I'll be doing the fight choreography for it. So, so the summer is when we're going to start like rehearsing, just sporadically, just to kind of get a feel for it, what we're doing different, because we're truncating Hamlet. Instead of it being like 2.5 hours, we're making it 90 minutes. So it's going to be a little bit truncated. We're going to get used to the acting, the characters, who's going to be playing who, and so on and so forth. So,
the only advice I would give to Hamlet is, so I read Hamlet before I saw Hamlet, and then Mel Gibson's movie came out after. That is the one play that you should see before you read it because of the way, I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, right? But it is confusing as hell if you don't know what's going on. Hamlet. I think you should see it first before you read it.
no, I disagree. I think you should read it before you see it, because you'll enjoy the performance more if you read it firsthand. Shakespeare's not that hard to understand.
No, I'm not saying that.
It really
He's
isn't.
talking to stuff, and you don't know what's real and what's not through the whole play.
It's all real. I mean, it's all in his head, but it's all real to him.
It's difficult to figure that out. Where if in the play you're quicker to see it and then read it. That's the only play I would say do it that way. It's just because
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You're the expert in it. I'm just saying that that's
see,
the one I would say go enjoy it and then go ooh, and then go back and read it and you kind of know who he's talking to, who he's not talking to, what's real and what's a dream, and it moves.
But it says right in the script, the ghost.
I understand.
He's talking, so you know who he's talking to.
I totally understand. I'm just saying it's the one I would do reverse, so you see it and understand it a little bit more.
I mean, okay.
But you're the expert in it.
I mean, okay, I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, like, I just, I don't know. I
Listening
think
to the Undercard Community Theater Radio.
no. I mean, I would just think that it would be easier to read it first, to get a sense of what you're going to be seeing, and then watching it, and then you can enjoy the performances or not enjoy the performances. Like, I've seen countless performances of Hamlet in movies, on stage. They
Mighty Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's probably a good example of what not to do as Hamlet. But I actually, this past summer, I saw a Shakespeare in the Park Hamlet here in Detroit. It was pretty.
Park.
New Center.
Yeah, New Center Park, where they had that little amphitheater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it was all right. And the production was all right. There was some good, there was some bad, there were some weird things they did, some things I didn't agree with or whatever. But I've also seen some brilliant versions of Hamlet. Like, there's a version of Hamlet with David Tennant.
I thought you were going to say David Hasselhoff.
No.
I was waiting for
Yeah,
it.
no. David Tennant and Patrick Stewart, which was amazing. It was amazing. David Tennant as Hamlet and Patrick Stewart as his uncle and the ghost of his father, and it was just brilliant. So I mean, it really depends on who you see do it. Sometimes you could get lost if they're not really good at what they're doing, and other times it's if you know the play and you know what's supposed to be happening and they do something different, then you're going to know, like, hey, wait a minute, that's not how it was written,
So my TV during the college years was locked on PBS, and what happened was during the innovations of TV as we're moving towards flat screens, and this wasn't a flat screen yet, is that they were like, hey, let's make it so technical that it's by remote only, and I had lost the remote and there was no way to change the channel, which then they went back to, they're like, that's absurd, and they started putting channel changers and stuff on it. But it was locked on PBS because I could not find this remote forever.
Right.
And David Hasselhoff was in
The
a play
Hoff.
called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and
Okay.
PBS was at the time like running it during their telethon. They're like, that's the David Hasselhoff's London presentation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Didn't see it ever live, but I will tell you that might have been the worst play I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm sure
Have you
it
seen
was.
the movie?
I
Or
haven't.
the movie of the play? And pretty bad.
No,
All right,
I
do what's on tap. We'll go to a break,
All right.
and then we'll
All right, our little cord doesn't reach the other side of my laptop, and I can't really move my laptop now because I got all this stuff hooked on. So there's no intro music for it, but just what's on tap. Okay, March. This is What's on Tap, sponsored by Falling Down Beer Company. March 22nd at Indio in California on ESPN2, we have Ryan Garcia versus Fernando Vargas, 10 rounds for the junior lightweights. March 23rd at Hollywood, Florida, Stefan Young versus Raymart Gaballo, 12 rounds for the WBA Bantamweight Eliminator. Excuse me. London on HBO, we have Frank Bugloni versus Callum Johnson, 12 rounds for Bugloni's British light heavyweight title. We also have Lewis Riston versus Scotty Cardell, 12 rounds for Riston's British lightweight title. Mexico City, BIN Sports and Espanol. We have Annabelle Ortiz versus Deborah Ragfio. Rematch, 10 rounds for Morales' WBA women's strawweight title. Hamburg, Germany. We have Tyron Zug versus Isaac Epko. Rematch for 12 rounds for Zug's WBA regular super middleweight title. Marseille, France. We have Rod Merhe versus Arsène Guyamian. 12 rounds for the vacant WBA regular cruiserweight title. Moving on to... and then also Michael Soro versus John Vera. 12 rounds for the WBA junior middleweight eliminator. In Bilbao, Spain, we have... Bilbao, Spain, sorry. We have Kerman Lagara versus Bradley Skeet. 12 rounds for the vacant European welterweight title. Going to MMA, the only thing really interesting is March 24th, Invicta FC 28, Mizuki versus Janrobia, and that is in the Union Event Center, Salt Lake City, Utah, in the United States. That's What's on Tap, sponsored by Falling Down Beer Company. We're going to go to a quick break, and we will be right back.
Boom, 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 boom. Cody didn't see your message. I don't know. New intro. I'm excited for the intro. That actually turned out really good. I don't know what you were worried about. That turned out good. What were we listening to? Taking Rick's from Bless you.
I'm gonna find out what it's real like to be loose, high and free. I don't care what the people say. I'm taking my mind, I'm changing the state.
Anger from Cody?
You know what I just saw there?
The camera's running, but the audio is running through that, so it's just picking up what's coming through the headphones.
I think it's tough.
You're listening to the Undercard, Hand Combat Radio.
Doing so good in the last like few days. I've just been eating like crap. Well, so on Sunday I play D&D, and that's always, I mean, I drank mostly water, but also had a little bit of pop, ate some chips and stuff. But I just haven't had a chance to go grocery shopping, so I've been eating like pizza and like chicken tenders and like shit like that. It's so bad for me.
McDonald's chicken tenders.
No. It's from the pizza place chicken tenders.
But they're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean they're good. And these chicken tenders were fucking amazing. But it's still the fact that I haven't been doing very well with what I've been trying to do. I just gotta make sure that I go grocery shopping tomorrow. I gotta go tomorrow. Oh, bless you. It's just so difficult,
Where do you go from here to grocery shopping?
Well, I always go grocery shopping when I'm like, I'll go to the Meijer down the road from where I work, or if I'm like driving, like, because I drive a lot for work. So what I'll do is if I'm in, cause it's cold out right now. So if I'm driving around and there's a Meijer by where I go, because I always shop at Meijer, I'll stop in the Meijer and go grocery shopping and just keep everything in the trunk while I'm still driving around. I mean, I don't buy any, like, everything that I buy is rarely ever frozen. It's always like use or freeze by at times. No, I don't use mayonnaise. The only condiment I really use is mustard. Yeah. No, I get like, so I'll get like turkey burgers and turkey ground meat and turkey sausage and egg whites and stuff like that. Well, I'm just like, that's what I'm trying to do, you know? Cut down the sugar, eat better. I don't know if you saw that post that I posted, but since Lent started, I've lost like 15 to 20 pounds. That's fucking great, yeah. Oh, there he is.
Last song on the
Oh, the bitter winds are coming in, and I'm already missing the sun. Stockholm's cold, but I've been told I was born to endure this kind of weather. When it's you, I find like a ghost in my mind. I am defeated, and I gladly wear the crown. I'll be your Emmylou and I'll be your Judith. You'll be my Graham and my Johnny too. No, I'm not asking much of you. Just sit stranger with a promise. But I'm holding back, that's the strength that I lack. Every morning keeps returning up my window. And it brings me to you, and I won't just pass through. But I'm not asking for someone. I'll be your Emmy Lou and I'll be your Juliet. You'll be my Graham and my Johnny too. No, I'm not asking much of you. Just sing, little darling,
Then
sing
you have
with
this
me.
neighbor Rochelle in there.
Yeah.
Like type drinking of
And
No. Is it literature or is it Irish
So you
toast?
can go make yourself a drink from anything but the stormtrooper cans, the stolen and
Cancer. Yeah, last Thursday, I was out with a friend of mine. She wanted a bunch of people to come out for karaoke, and it's literally right down the road from where
David,
David.
I saw it.
Yeah. So anyways, she was trying to set me up with a friend of hers, and anyways, David was there, and that he was talking about, we were talking about the stormtrooper thing getting stolen again, and after he leaves, she turns to me and she's like, "Is it bad that I just really want to go there, find it, and steal it?"
Yes.
And I was like,
It's happened
yes, it is.
I can't believe it hasn't.
I only have like 45 seconds before we
Actually, what we were saying is that she would steal it and then like go on a road trip and like post
Take
pictures of
and
it,
return it.
yeah, and then return it.
All right, we're going to go back to hand combat for a second, then we're going to wrap it up with, I don't think it's really pop culture, it's just something huge.
Just a little fun trivia thing.
look at my drink now.
And then what we're going to do is close with, we got to do a funeral later today, so we'll close with the funeral. So anyways, Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez, it's quickly coming upon us, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And Golovkin went on the offensive today in USA Today. And I want to make it very, very clear why boxing will never surpass the other sports is because of the decisions and stuff around it. It's a niche sport. I've said it a million times. People that love boxing, love the excitement of boxing. You have to be realistic. Take 12 steps back and realize it's not baseball. It's not football. And the way that we allow judging, just like figure skating or other sports, makes it so that our sport will probably never, ever, ever be mainstream like it was back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, or when Muhammad Ali was in there. But anyways, according to USA Today, Martin Rogers is the official journalist on it, from Big Bear Lake, California, where Golovkin is training. Gennady Golovkin launched a remarkable attack on rival Saul Canelo Alvarez on Tuesday, accusing the Mexican fighter of being a longtime drug cheat who is protected by the corrupt boxing officials. Alvarez tested positive for a banned substance, and I always pronounce this wrong, salbutamol or something, during samples collected on February 17th and February 20th, with the test results being revealed in March 4th. He and Golovkin are due to take part in a rematch in Las Vegas on May 5th, having battled to a controversial draw last year. Alvarez has insisted that the levels of salbutamol, in his system was a result of tainted meat consumed while in Mexico. Golovkin ridiculed those claims while indicating the Nevada Athletic Commission were conspiring to ensure Alvarez would not face sanction. "Come on, I told you. It's not meat," Golovkin told reporters at his training camp in Big Bear. "Canelo's team are using these drugs and everyone's trying to pretend it's not happening. This guy, he knows. This is not his first day in boxing. He proves he gets benefits from everyone and he can get away with it." The Commentators Commission Doping Commission, this is a very bad business. It's not sport. Check him on a lie detector, and then we can find out everything. Many observers believe Golovkin won the first fight. However, it was scored even when one judge gave Alvarez victory by an extraordinary 118-110 margin. Another gave Golovkin a narrow win, and a third scored at 114-114. The 35-year-old Golovkin said he suspected Alvarez was a drug cheat before their first encounter. Before the first fight, I knew he was not clean. Golovkin added, have a look at the video. He used some pills. It was pretty obvious when his muscles were all had traces of injections. I've known it for a long time. Golovkin also insinuated that Alvarez promoter, Golden Boys Promotions chief Oscar De La Hoya, had used performance-enhancing drugs during his career. You can talk about De La Hoya, Golovkin added. He is also not clean. He is dirty. Golden Boy president Eric Gomez categorically dismissed Golovkin's assertions. It is ridiculous, Gomez told USA Today Sports. Triple G doesn't sound like a confident fighter. I guess he has a lot of insecurities. There is an investigation into the Celebra. Well, I'm going to pronounce it different each time. Hold on one second. I got to sneeze. Yep, I do sneeze that long. And now it's on video. And we are cooperating. When it is complete, all the facts will come out. Canelo is a clean fighter. The facts and statistics back it up. Nevada Athletic Commission Executive Director Bob Bennett had no comment as the investigation in the matter is still pending. Golovkin said that after the decision in the first fight, members of the commission had avoided him. Looking at the commission, they all put their head down to avoid eye contact. Golovkin said, they don't want to watch. I reviewed the fight again, and I just realized that these people like that are terrorists. They are killing the sport. People like that, they have to be in prison, he added. So let's break down the story really quick. First off, I guess if there is corruption at a financial level, maybe prison, I don't know. We've said this 5 years now. We're coming up on 5 years. Boxing, if ever a sport maybe wasn't clean, it is boxing. It's had the history, and the bad thing is that you got Golovkin, who I kind of believe what Golden Boy is saying here. If you really believe you could beat Canelo, you shouldn't be going this route. Not making excuses already. And now Canelo's in a non-winning situation. You win, people say you might be on steroids. You lose, people will say it's because you got caught taking steroids and you stopped taking steroids because they were testing you. Or it could be real tainted meat in Mexico. Some things to note, Canelo was one of the first people to actually try to push for tougher drug testing when he was coming up in his early 20s. That doesn't mean that he might have not had a change of heart. But Golovkin's clearly going after Nevada. He's clearly going after the establishment. Now, here's the bad thing about that, is that if you're going to win a beauty pageant, and this fight is close, the last thing you want to do is take shots at the judges. So I don't understand the strategy Golovkin's going with here, because if it's close, you're kind of setting yourself up for maybe the state of Nevada to look the other way. You're kind of putting them down. You're trying to say they're on Canelo, and not good strategy, not well thought out strategy. And at the end of the day, if you think you could beat Canelo, you don't care that he is on steroids or not. You're just going to walk through him. But that being said, if Canelo isn't clean and this investigation proves that he was on some sort of drug to help him lose weight during training camp, there cannot be a bigger blow, God bless you, to boxing, because here you have a superstar in his late 20s. He will be tainted by ever, and here's the biggest fight we've had in a while.
My heart will be broken. Since
Pacquiao and Mayweather, and all of a sudden, you know. So that story is gaining legs. Golovkin's not letting this tainted meat thing go away. It's a big part of his camp. And I don't know. Is Canelo bigger from the last time I've seen him personally? Yes. But I don't know what the natural body evolution is. I know that I can be around somebody and kind of get a gauge of it. Just they're different, but not having seen Canelo in person in a little bit, it's really tough for me to gauge. I'd have to be near him to maybe think that if it's true or not. But there is a natural course of your body getting a little bit bigger. I don't think it's anything freakish I've seen from a distance, but we'll continue to follow that story. But I mean, it's kind of already ruined the fight come May, because everybody's going to have doubt. I hope Canelo didn't cheat, and if it was tainted meat, that just freaking sucks, dude. It's just something to overhang boxing. But once again, for 5 years I've been saying this. This is exactly why boxing, it just is never going to crack the top 4. And I'm putting NHL hockey in front of it, which is just absurd. Eric DeLeon, though, fought to a majority draw in California. His ratings were good. Our good friend Eric DeLeon from Detroit. That's good to hear. So, I mean, there are things to look at in boxing and say, hey, you know what? The ratings are good. On TV, they're good. That one was on ESPN, top rank on ESPN. But this would be devastating to the sport. So hopefully this investigation clears up. Canelo doesn't eat any more tainted meat or stops taking steroids, and we go from there. But if he wins, that's what the people that are Golovkin fans or the people that don't like Canelo are going to say, is that it had something to do with steroids. I don't know. Let's go to our funeral real quick, and then we'll go to Jimmy's game. We'll end on a high note. So it is with sad news that everybody knows, but I am going to give a eulogy. Our good friend Toys R Us has left us. Part of our childhood.
Brad, I've been sitting here going, oh my God, who died?
Oh, I thought he was like, well, Marvin's finally coming.
Oh.
Your mic's not on.
No, that's right.
Our good friend Toys R Us has officially left us. Right. Now, a lot of you out there immediately are going, Jeffrey was a giraffe. He had a long neck. He should have saw this coming for quite some time. But they didn't. And
No, they did. They saw this coming a long time ago.
Right. Toys R Us was such a part of everybody's life that it's weird to think that, and it appears all the stores are closing, that there will be no more Toys R Us.
Well, actually, I just heard a rumor that this other, that KB Toys is, instead of Toys R Us closing down, they're going to do a merger with Toys R Us. And they're going to become a conglomerate, Toys R Us and KB Toys. It's just a rumor. It's just an article that I saw. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but that might be interesting. Because KB Toys only exists in malls.
Right.
So if they could get the real estate that Toys R Us owns, expand out of the malls into actual buildings or whatever, I mean, that could be huge.
Yeah.
I have an idea for a toy store kind of thing or whatever. Basically, it's like a Toys R Us or whatever, except that when you go there, you can rent a toy for an hour. Like, mommy, I want that toy. You come to the desk, you say, hey, my kid wants to play with that toy. I want to make sure that they actually like the toy before I actually dump all this money in it.
It's like a red box for toys with an option to purchase.
Well, so that's what it is. So then, then you have a used toy that, is cleaned and sterilized every day and stuff like that. But then you go through, you grab that specific toy, and then they can rent it for $5 an hour or something like that, and the kid can play with it in a play area. Yeah.
Part of the joy of buying a toy is opening it.
No, hold on.
No, he's saying you can open
it.
So
what I'm saying is, then you get...
put it back in the box, though.
Well, no. This is what I'm saying. So you play with the toy. And then if the kid likes it, then you buy the actual toy, and the kid can take it home and open it up and play with it again. But it's just to see, because how many times have, a kid goes, I want that, and they get it home, they open it up, they play with it for 2 seconds, and they get bored with it.
Gigi pets, they pooped, you fed them for a day, and then you wish you didn't spend that much when they were popular for 34 months.
Right, exactly.
That
So
would've
this
been
will
one
allow
I
you...
would've
Like
brought,
Tamagotchi.
yeah, I would have brought right back. I would've
Right.
been like,
So this is that thing where the kid can play with it for a little bit and see if it's something that they really do like, or if it's just like, no, I didn't really think it. This seemed cooler on TV than it actually is. You know what I'm saying?
the
So
brains on Jimmy, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
yeah,
Oh,
I just
my
need
God.
the capital.
Yeah, that's true. You remember Children's Palace?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, that was a good toy store.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is 100% true before we play your game,
That's
but
fine.
there's a guy in business that was saying what Toys R Us did wrong, and if this is true, this is so ridiculous that they executed themselves, that they didn't believe in web.
No.
They thought it was like, so they merged with Amazon.
Yep.
And Amazon used Toys R Us, but what people found is that you could buy, then they got people used to buying on Amazon
Yep.
at cheaper rates
Yep.
and then slit their own throat
Yep.
because they didn't believe in web.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That guy should be executed.
Yeah.
Firing squad.
That's CFO, man.
Holy shit. All right, let's play this game.
All right.
Jimmy. What are the rules?
So here are the rules. I am going to read you a quote or a passage or something. I'm going to read it, and then you are going to either hold up a red chip or a black chip.
Red chips for Irish?
Red chips for Irish, black chips for literature.
You got
So
this,
it's
Rochelle?
either going to be a quote, like an Irish quote about drinking, or it's going to be a passage from some book, novel, or whatever that talks about drinking. You're going to try to guess which one it is, okay?
What are we playing up to? How many rounds?
We're just gonna
strategy.
we're just gonna play until we've read them all, and then
All
whoever
right.
has the most points wins.
All right, I'm keeping
Okay.
score over here.
Oh, you're gonna keep score?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So the first one, beer's intellectual. What a shame so many idiots drink it.
Rochelle, ladies first.
You think it's Irish? Okay, so literature.
Oh,
Right.
I get to vote too.
Yeah. You want to say Irish? That is from literature. It is from Ray Bradbury's The October Country.
That sounds like every drunk at every bar rambling down at like
All right.
Gaelic League.
The most important things to do in the world are to get something to eat, something to drink, and somebody to love you.
That's an Irish toast.
Whoop.
Oops.
Jesus.
That is correct. That is an Irish toast.
All right, 2-1 Rochelle.
The best beer is where priests go to drink, for a quart of ale is a dish for a king.
Don't you stop it?
No, I'm trying to distract you. Is it working? Breaking stuff.
That is correct. That is from A Winter's Tale, The Winter's Tale by William Shakespeare.
Wow.
All right.
All right, 3-2 Rochelle.
May the saddest day of your future be no worse than the happiest day of your past. Yep, that is an Irish one. All right. What's drinking? A mere pause from thinking. That's correct. That is also from literature. It is from Lord Byron's The Deformed Transformed.
5-4 Rochelle.
All right. Give an Irishman lager for a month and he's a dead man. An Irishman's stomach is lined with copper and corrodes the beer, and the beer corrodes it. But whiskey polishes the copper and is the saving of him. Sometimes too much to drink is barely enough. Yep, it's Mark Twain.
I mean, that one's a dead giveaway. Being Irish and telling you, there's no way we could remember that.
Yeah, all right. Here's to hell. May the stay there be as much fun as the way there. Yep, that is Irish. All right.
All right. So since Rochelle's not got one wrong yet, she's up 7-6.
All right. Beautiful young people are acts of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. That's correct. That is... No, wait. That is actually Irish.
Oh.
That is actually Irish.
I'm still
Yeah.
with you.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's my go-ahead.
I would give all my fame for a pot of ale and safety. Yep, that is from Henry V. I drink to the general joy of the whole table. That is Macbeth.
Bless it. All right, so 9-8 9-7.
9-7. Here's to all my friends and lovers. May all your ups and downs be under the covers. That is Irish. That is correct.
10-8.
Here's to a long life and a merry one, a quick death and an easy one, a pretty girl and an honest one, a cold pint and another one. That is Irish. That is
I don't
correct.
know why I think she's cheating. She's winning. But I think she's cheating. 11-8, Rochelle.
Drink because you are happy, but never because you are miserable. Rochelle's correct. That is from Heretics. G.K. Chesterton.
Take away my Irish card. 12-8.
Here's to you and yours, and to mine and ours, and if mine and ours ever come across you and yours, I hope I'm never going to finish that. That is Irish. All right.
13-9.
13-9. I like to see the glass as half full, hopefully of Jack Daniels. That is correct. That is a literature. From First Grave on the Right.
14-10.
Beware of strong drink. It can make you shoot at the tax collector and miss. That is also literature. From Time Enough for Love.
15-10 to Rochelle.
Always remember to forget the things that made you sad, but never forget to remember the things that made you glad. That is Irish. That is correct. All right, so what are we at?
16-11.
16-11. Rochelle wins.
Congratulations. Dang it, dude. I don't know how it got so bad.
I
11,
there-
10, 11. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of them that I specifically chose because they sounded like Irish drinking.
Oh no, they were
things,
tough.
yeah.
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
I went in with a strategy of how many Irishmen would actually remember that in the toast. The famous one that I always do is that maybe we all arrive in heaven a half hour before the devil knows we're dead.
Yeah.
So you kind of use that, and the Irish eyes are smiling. May the road meet you. All those, and then you had some difficult ones in there.
Yeah. A lot of Shakespeare ones.
Yeah.
A lot of Shakespeare ones. Those will catch
Congratulations.
you. Congratulations,
Enjoy
Rochelle. Yep.
Enjoy your beer.
All right.
Cody did horrible though.
Cody
it's
did not get one right.
absolutely bad.
I mean, not
Just
one right.
Looking at him down there.
I
He
know,
didn't
it's
finish
terrible.
Third. Freaking athlete representing Russia over there.
Yeah.
Cody Stamen. So we'll finish. We only got a few more minutes, but so we do talk a little bit pop culture here and there. Jimmy is our resident Marvel fan.
So I finally saw Thor Ragnarok, which I hadn't seen yet, and I finally saw Justice League.
All right. I will let you start with Justice League, and then I'll
Okay.
start with Thor because I'm a DC guy and you're a Marvel guy. So you start with Justice League.
Okay, what do you want to know?
What do you think of it?
I actually really liked it. I really liked it. I thought
Not as
Jason
bad as people thought.
No, and I think Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller, who played Aquaman and The Flash respectively, really made that movie. You had good comic relief and just a sense of like fun and like, hey, I'm really excited to be doing this kind of thing for The Flash. And you had Aquaman, which is, the dude's a badass. It's Jason Momoa. You can't not be Jason Momoa and be a badass in anything you do. But he really so the Aquaman, like back in the day, he was kind of a joke. But then the new 52 came out and they revamped Aquaman.
Orange Aquaman.
Right.
Orange and green.
They revamped Aquaman. He was the king of Atlantis. He was a fighter. He did all that kind of stuff like that. And they really did that with him, and you got to see Aquaman kicking some really big ass, and that was really good.
Very cool scene when he's talking to Bruce and he's getting in the water. He's half in the water.
Yeah.
And he turns to Bruce and swims off. That's
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that was pretty cool. Then also at the end when they're fighting the parademons, and he flies through the air and he's falling. Then Cyborg grabs him and he's like, "Ride's not over yet." He's like, "My man," and he just launches him, and it's just I really like that. And here's why I really liked it. Because that was a Zack Snyder movie. And Zack Snyder knows how to do ensemble pieces.
No, you're talking Josh Whedon.
No, but Zack Snyder knows how to do ensemble pieces. Josh Whedon does as well. But Zack Snyder does know how to do ensemble pieces. He's not as good with the the single, and that's why Man of Steel was meh. Batman v Superman was a little bit better, and then Justice League was much better because you went from one guy to a few people to a lot of people. So I really think Zack Snyder did a really good job with this.
See, I really liked Man of Steel.
Free the yeah.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't
Free the Zack Snyder.
great. Yeah, I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't great. It could have been so much better.
Right.
So much better. They just, I don't know. I didn't like the Man of Steel. I thought it could have been much better. I thought it got a little bit better with Batman v Superman, then so much better with Justice League.
So overall rating?
Overall rating, I'd say A minus.
Okay.
A minus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really high.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So I'm not a Marvel guy, and I'm definitely not a Thor guy either. And I'll say this, that I did not sit down and watch Thor, but I came in and out as it was on. I can't even pronounce the R word. Ragnarok.
It's
It's that thing
Norse
was a
mythology.
comedy, and it was really funny.
Yeah.
Made me laugh.
Yeah. Oh, it had some great moments in it.
I don't know. One of my favorite, but a pure out comedy.
Yeah.
Everything's funny.
Well, not everything was funny, but there was a lot of comedy in it. Yeah.
A lot of comedy.
But here's the thing that I don't think a lot of people noticed. They completely changed something in the MCU with that movie that was not spoke of before. Well, it was spoke of before, but it was different. In every other movie that came before this, Thor always referred to Asgard, as Guardians, and them as not gods, but just people of higher scientific understanding. But in Thor Ragnarok, they actually changed them where they are gods. Thor is the god of thunder. Loki is the god of mischief. Hela is the goddess of death. They actually became gods. And that changes the landscape of the MCU. And I think the reason that they did that is because of Thanos. Mm-hmm. Because Thanos is this big bad who is almost godlike, but I don't know what they're going to do with the Infinity Wars movie and what his motivation is going to be, but in the comics, the reason that Thanos wants the Infinity Gauntlet and wants to destroy half the universe is because he is in love with death, the goddess of death. Not Hela, the goddess of death, but the actual goddess of death throughout all the known universe. And he actually wants to be with her, and the only way that he can do that is by destroying half of the universe so that she will come to him.
Right.
That is the only way that he can be with her, is when he destroys something and she comes to him. So that's his motivation in the comics. Whether that's the motivation of the movies, I don't know. But I think they kind of had to go, if we're going to put a guy like Thanos up against these people, then you got to have some kind of like god that can go toe-to-toe with him, which would be Thor,
Right.
And I kind of like that they did an homage to, now that Odin is dead, Thor's the new king of Asgard, and he has the eye patch, just like Odin.
He asked anyone where they want to go. No one decided. He picked Earth.
Yep.
So now it's a race to see if Trump gets this wall in place before they get there, because God knows he doesn't want more immigrants.
They'd go to Norway.
Okay. But, it gives them more political,
Right.
We don't want people coming in. We got to build these walls and domes and stuff like that. Keep people out.
Yeah, you're not going to
Jeff
stop.
Goldblum was awesome in it.
Yeah,
First
he was.
off, what isn't he good in? Even there was a 9-month movie with Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
About pregnancy. God, that is so weird. That is like the 7th ghost that has like.
Well,
opened.
it's not. It's every time they open the door, the pressure opens the door.
I'm getting all science on us. So that movie was okay, but Jeff Goldblum had like a really supporting role. Anything he's in is classic.
Well, he was the game man, and what they did was they actually took
Big part.
Yeah, big part, and they actually took the comic Planet Hulk, and they made it as a subplot to Thor Ragnarok.
Because a Hulk movie can't stand alone by itself.
Well,
they've learned that.
I honestly think that if they did a Planet Hulk, it could have worked.
Okay.
Because a lot of what the comedy came from the Planet Hulk scenes. You know what I'm saying? I think they could have gotten away with it. They just didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah. So this is you're our Marvel expert.
That one got an A+ from me.
This is the end of the road, though. These movies come out and then they're going to reboot because a lot of the actors are
No.
Well, no. Okay, so
No.
I am a huge Sirius radio fan.
Yeah.
Black Panther, huge success.
Yes.
That they're going to kind of run Black Panther, and then they're going to possibly run a couple other characters, but because the rest of the universe is kind of collapsing, it's going to be kind of like the Spider-Man reboot kind of thing. No,
nope. Because this is what they're going to do. We're in phase 3 right now. All right, we're at the end of phase 3. Phase 4 is all new Avengers, and those. So right now they've introduced the new set of Avengers. Once Cap and Thor and Iron Man and Hawkeye and Black Widow are gone, you have your new Avengers, who are now also part of the Avengers, but now you have their solo movies, and they'll be part of their own team movies, which they're a part of now, but then it will be without Cap and Thor and all that stuff. So you have Spider-Man, you have the Wasp, you have Ant-Man, you have Black Panther, you have Vision, and you have Scarlet Witch. Those are your new Avengers. And they're going to have separate movies, like solo movies. So we've had one Ant-Man, we've had one Black Panther, we've had one Spider-Man, right?
And technically kind of an Ant-Man sequel with the Wasp.
Well, so now we have the next Ant-Man sequel coming up. So there'll be another Spider-Man, there'll be another Black Panther, then you'll have another one of each one of those, and they're going to be part of ensemble movies just as well. That'll be like the new Avengers. And that's how they do it with the comics too. And they're not going to reboot whatever, but like somebody else will take over the mantle of Iron Man. Somebody will take over the mantle of Captain America. Probably Bucky, because that's what they did in the comics. You know, that kid that you saw in Iron Man 3, he might become the new Iron Man. I mean, it's just what they do.
Confessions, I've never seen Iron Man 3.
It's okay. I'm saying it's just what they do, and that's probably what they're going to do with the MCU. They have a lot of new characters they're introducing. They're doing a lot of their own solo movies, but then they're going to bring them together as the main Avengers and use some of the ancillary characters that take up the mantle of some of the other characters and do them. Plus, you still have Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, yeah, I couldn't think of the other one that they were running Black Panther. They said Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes,
you can't be hotter than that franchise
right
now.
Right, exactly. So you have so many spin-offs that can happen from Guardian of the Galaxy too. You know,
I've not seen Black Panther yet. It's
I haven't yet. I need to see it. Yeah.
See, but I don't believe like the characters like Vision and Scarlet Witch. I don't believe that they could like survive a standalone movie.
No, they will not be part of the standalone movie. They're just going to be a part of the Avengers when the other Avengers come together.
I'm just waiting for my Black Widow movie.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It better.
I really don't.
She's awesome.
She is, but at this point in time, I don't think it's going to happen. If they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. Scarlett Johansson's getting a little too up there to do. I could see.
It is.
No.
It is because she's just
Richard
as old
Gere.
as like Captain America, Robert Downey Jr.
Right, but they're retiring. That's what I'm saying. They're all getting a little, and that's why they're going
but
to.
See, we haven't gotten her her complete backstory yet.
Right. I could see a Black Widow
Prequel.
movie. Well, I could see a Black Widow movie that takes place after the events of standalone movie that takes place after the events of Infinity War, that also does flashbacks to how this all came about.
Totally not DC or Marvel related. Here's a guy I'm gonna say that doesn't get his due. Todd McFarlane. Whether he's designing toys, whether he's owning the Edmonton Oilers, he's redoing Spawn, which I think Spawn, because I watched it again online, for obviously some technical CGI stuff with the cape and everything, that holds up pretty good. For
not if you ever read the comics.
Okay, but I'm saying, first off, he invented Spawn, so like he can do whatever he wants. I mean, it might not hold up to his comics, but he did it.
No, I mean the acting.
Oh, okay.
That it was so bad.
I think it holds up.
Yeah, no, I disagree.
I had a Spawn action figure that was bad.
Oh, I did too.
I would say it
I
was
love Spawn.
huge. I've never seen it, but I
I
remember
love
'cause that was
Spawn,
the time I was
and that's why I was so
like,
disappointed with the movie.
Right.
'Cause I love Spawn.
But they're
we started
rebooting.
like all the good action
Yeah.
figures anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Todd McFarlane's like pure genius.
Yeah.
Like the McFarlane toys that he made for like
Mhm.
anything, whether it be Movie Maniacs, whatever he did,
Yeah, he set the standard
was
high.
yeah, like those toys look so realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll be back next week with Cody will be in next week too.
Feel better,
Congratulations.
feel
yeah.
better.
Congratulations, Rochelle, on your big win. I gotta give Jimmy his checkers back. Remember, I finished second.
Yeah,
Cody did horrible
yeah.
down
Dead
there.
last.
And we'll be back next week, and we're moving closer to our 5th anniversary.
Yeah, we are. Holy shit.
5
years.
doing the show.
Yeah.
And then somebody said I've been writing for Fight News. I think 2 already. God, time
Oh, yeah,
flies.
at least.
Shit. Jeez, oh Pete. So we'll be back next week,
All right.
and then maybe we'll be able to. I gotta fit Black Panther in. It's probably gotta be this week. I want to see it in a theater, and try to experience it
Yeah.
as well as I can.
I do too. I just don't have time.
Are you surprised about how much money it made? We
No.
did past The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised. I mean, Black Panther is one of the better comics. So,
Which is weird because it took so long.
right, yeah.
You know. All right, we'll be back next week. Take care. Let me give you your checkers back. Checkers, checkers, checkers.